When we talk about the Great Pyramid of Giza, we're not just talking about ancient stone. We're talking about a structure that has been precisely measured, scanned with cosmic ray muons, mapped with radar and satellite data, subjected to acoustic and resonance studies, integrated into mathematical comparisons with planetary constants, and debated across millennia as more than just a burial chamber. And yet, after all this scrutiny, we still don't understand its purpose fully. It's been said that it was built for Pharaoh Khufu during Egypt's 4th dynasty. It does actually contain 2.3 million blocks, totaling 6 million tons. It was originally covered in polished Tora limestone with gold at the top. Its internal chambers are granite, a stone brought from far away. But look closer and the pyramids start to look like something more than a tomb. One of the first mysteries lies not in what the pyramid looks like today, but what it was originally. Core stones, local limestone from Giza. Casing stones, white Tora limestone, polished smooth. Internal chambers, rose granite from Aswan, extremely hard and quartz rich. Mortar, gypsum, sand, pulverized limestone mix. Why are these materials so interesting? Well, the limestone casing, highly polished, light reflective. It could reflect up to 60% of visible light and literally shimmer in the sun. The rose granite in the chambers contains 85% quartz, which is used in modern electronics for piezoelectric properties, the ability to generate electricity charge under pressure or vibration. So the builders chose a high insulation shell, Tora limestone, coupled it with a quartz-rich conductive interior, granite, and transported huge stone hundreds of miles to build the innermost spaces, all intentionally. So the question is, was this purely for structural strength, or was there another purpose to those material choices? Inside the pyramid, there are 3 known chambers, stacked and staggered. The subterranean chamber, dug into bedrock, unfinished and rough, no clear funerary design. The Queen's Chamber, mid-level, contains shaft like the King's Chamber. And then the King's Chamber, entirely clad in granite, measures 20 royal cubits by 10, approximately 10 by 5 by 5 metres. The ceiling is made from 9 slabs totaling 400 tons. A plain, empty granite sarcophagus sits here, no inscriptions visible inside the chamber itself. The precision inside is intense. Internal joints often fit within 0.5mm. Inner chambers built with a level of finishing far beyond necessary for a tomb. This raises the really big question. If this was a simple burial chamber, why invest so deeply into polished granite and precise geometry? No hieroglyphic funerary texts like in later tombs, no richly decorated walls, no clear record. Now we hit the section most people ask for, the major math, statistical patterns, planetary coincidences, and geometric relationships known or at least proposed. So first of all, the base height and pi. The original height is 146.6 metres. The base perimeter is 921.36 metres. If you divide the perimeter by 2 times the height, you get very close to pi, 3.1416. This suggests an intentional embedding of circle geometry into a pyramid. The question is, how was a circle constant encoded into a stone geometry that doesn't contain traditional circles? And then there's the golden ratio, 1.618. When you compare the slant height to half the base, the ratio approximates the golden ratio, a universal constant found in nature, architecture and art. The question is, were the builders encoding aesthetic harmonic principles, or were they encoding something deeper about proportions and balance? And then there's scaling, 43,200 factor. There's a weirdly persistent number here. There are 43,200 seconds in 12 hours. Multiply the pyramid's height by 43,200, you get the Earth's polar radius within 99.7% accuracy. Multiply the pyramid's perimeter by 43,200, you get the Earth's equatorial circumference within 99.3% accuracy. That's pyramid data times 43,200 is planetary dimensions. This is substantive enough that even skeptics call it a strange numerological coincidence, but precise enough to be uncanny. So did the builders understand Earth's dimensions 2.3 to 2.5 thousand years before it was considered the true value? And then you have latitude and the speed of light. The Great Pyramid is located at approximately 29.9792458 degrees north in terms of latitude, numerically matching the speed of light in a vacuum, which is 299,792,458 meters to the second. This one is sometimes dismissed as a unit coincidence, but when it stacks on top of the other patterns, people take notice. So is it a coincidence or intentional encoding of a universal constant through geometry? And then you've got the Orion's belt situation. The Orion correlation theory proposes that the three biggest Giza pyramids correspond to the three stars of Orion's belt, Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka, mirroring their positions in 2500 BCE skies. The Egyptians associated Orion with Osiris, the god of rebirth. This could be symbolic or functional, or both. So the question is, did the builders intentionally place these monuments as star maps on Earth? And people think the pyramid is four-sided, but it's actually eight-sided. Under certain light conditions or looking at it from the top, you see that the pyramid is very slightly concave, meaning each apparent face is usually two planes, making the pyramid subtly eight-sided, not four. Some researchers suggest this would affect how light, shadows, or even energy resonate around and within the structure. So the question is, was this concave design a stylistic choice or functional, perhaps for resonance or structural harmony? In the last decade, scientists have used muon tomography, particle scans, and radar to peer inside and under the pyramid without digging. A large void above the Grand Gallery confirmed unknown internal space. Synthetic aperture radar scans suggest additional chambers beneath the plateau. These findings could explain structural balancing, could be part of internal resonance systems, or could simply be unknown archaeological and architectural features. But none of this fits neatly into the simple tomb model. So the question is, are these blank hidden spaces part of ceremonial, symbolic, or even functional design? So now we move on to more controversial and fascinating theories, ones with wow factor, but differing degrees of evidence. These are not mainstream Egyptology, but intriguing interpretations based on physical properties. So maybe the pyramid is a resonator or energy device. Some engineers, notably Christopher Dunn, hypothesized the pyramid was built to generate or focus energy through resonance and piezoelectric effects. Here's the idea. The interior chambers and passages use quartz-rich granite. Underwater and cavities could generate sound waves. Sound travels up through the structure and resonates in the Grand Gallery. Some measurements show a natural resonance at 440 Hz, an F note. Quartz under vibration produces electrical charges. The King's Chamber lined with granite and heavy roof slabs could force or contain this resonance. In this model, the pyramid acts like a giant resonant system where sound turns to vibration, which turns to electrical charges, which turns to possibly electromagnetic fields. Some fringe researchers even suggested the pyramid acted as a particle accelerator, or MESA engine, or an ancient equivalent to Tesla's wireless power idea. Mainstream archaeology rejects this due to lack of physical evidence like wiring or conductors. The pyramid's internal structure fits funerary architecture of the time. But the question is, could ancient builders have understood resonance piezoelectrics instinctively, not as technology like ours, but as a phenomena to harness? Some independent researchers modelling electrical fields proposed the pyramid's geometry and materials could store electrical charge like a massive capacitor on the order of hundreds of nanofarads with high potential voltage. This theory is far from proven, but it points to presence of insulative casing, conductive interior from the granite and the quartz, and geometry matched to field storage calculations. If the pyramid could hold charge in theory, was it an accident or intentional? Nikola Tesla believed Earth's surface and atmosphere could be exploited to transmit power wirelessly. Some theorists connect this concept with the pyramid's height, geometry, orientation, proximity to water aquifers, and material choices. This is obviously highly speculative, and no evidence of Tesla-type structures has been found inside the pyramid, but the parallel of ideas is fascinating in a philosophical sense. So did ancient civilizations play with concepts we don't associate with antiquity because we've assumed those ideas are modern? What about this big idea, and most controversial, I suppose? Clearly noting where evidence ends and theory begins. The conventional timeline says the pyramid was built 2560 BCE. But when we measure Earth scale ratios, cosmic constants, precise geometry, unknown hidden spaces, some researchers ask, is this too advanced for its time, or have we underestimated ancient human capability? Archaeology argues quarry logs exist, worker graffiti exists, tools and workforce evidence exists. So far, the standard timeline is well supported in documents and physical context. But the meaning of what was built may not fit neatly into that timeline's explanatory framework. What about Anunnaki, aliens or lost civilizations? These ideas are popular in fringe but lack direct archaeological evidence. This doesn't mean they're true or not true. It means the questions about purpose and precision are still open. Has the narrative of human capabilities been shaped by our modern bias, disallowing ancient ingenuity beyond labour alone? The fact that materials have piezoelectric properties, resonance exists in the chambers, geometry encodes constants, chambers are arranged in precise physical space, forces a conversation we rarely have in mainstream scholarship. Were the pyramids designed for purposeful interaction with physical forces, even if we don't fully understand them yet? So here's the real takeaway. The Great Pyramid is not just a monument, it's a mirror of our own assumptions about mathematics and meaning, ancient knowledge and skill, the nature of human history, how we define technology, and what counts as evidence. We started with a tomb assumption and ended with planetary mathematics, material science, acoustic resonance, and hidden chambers. Perhaps the greatest mystery of the pyramid isn't how it was built, but what we've allowed ourselves not to ask.